What does it mean about you as a man if your relationship is broken? If your partner is constantly unhappy? If you can't fix this because you don't know how, or everything that you've tried to fix hasn't been working. In fact, maybe it's making it worse. Maybe the relationship is over. Maybe she's completely checked out. Maybe there's a little glimmer of hope, but what you've been doing isn't making it any better. In fact, you weren't even really aware of what needs to be solved because you keep trying to fix it. And so it's not working. So you just shut down, or you just explode, or you're trying to make it better. You're trying to please her. You're trying to jump through all these hoops and the goalpost keeps moving. What does it mean about you as a man if you can't fix something?
Absolutely nothing. It means you have a skill set you haven't learned yet. And it's okay. I don't expect you to know how to fix problems in relationships when nobody has ever taught you. In fact, your way of fixing things in relationships is based on what you experienced as a child. And chances are, shutting down, not understanding feelings or emotions, not understanding what healthy relationships are because you never really saw one, or what you saw was not the full picture. So you only have like the happy times, almost like the highlight reel, the social media highlight reel of what relationships are and how they work. But that's not your relationship, is it? And so in order to be able to fix, if it's even fixable, means starting with yourself, right? We can't create connection with others if we are completely disconnected with ourselves. So if we start to feel feelings and emotions rise up and we shut them down because, oh dear God, I don't know how to handle that. Oh, it's going to overtake me. I don't know what happens when I fully release my emotions. That's where nervous system regulation comes into play. If you can learn how to regulate your emotions, not repress them, you actually understand your emotions. And most men know happy, sad, and horny. And mad. Mad's in there too, right? And that's it. That's our emotional bandwidth. But here's the thing. Emotions have a little bit of layers to them, right? So what you may be experiencing as anger, madness, frustration is actually a protective emotion over something like sadness or fear. Anger is a secondary emotion that masks sadness or fear because it's easier to push something away by way of anger to be able to protect the things that feel a little bit more vulnerable, that feel a little bit more scary, that feel a little bit more tender. But until we understand that, we just default very quickly to anger, which for men is the societally acceptable emotion to feel. Because if a man is afraid, if a man is sad, what does that mean about a man? Again, absolutely fucking nothing. It means you're a human. Congratulations, you are a human. You have feelings and emotions. You have a nervous system. You were just conditioned to believe that it wasn't valuable in trying to understand it because, sorry, dad believed it, but I don't know. Did dad have this whole happy-go-lucky kind of life, or did dad repress stuff? I mean, I don't know. You learned it from your upbringing. And so in order for us to have rewarding and fulfilling relationships, we need to understand our nervous system, how to regulate it so that we don't make our partner responsible for all of our repressed feelings. So learning nervous system regulation skills and tools, I particularly love breathwork. It's an hour-long session of specific breathing patterns to release what's repressed in a safe way so that you can get it out without making anybody else responsible for it. When we can discharge those emotions, guess what comes on to play in our brain? Logic. Now, you may think you're being logical when your partner's being emotional, but however, you are actually probably being emotional in response to her emotions because your relationship is chock full of codependency, meaning that her emotional state affects your emotional state. Meaning if that she starts to get angry with you, you match her with anger, or you shut down and you cower and you go, okay, honey, whatever, or you walk away because I'm just not going to take the bait and I'm going to keep the peace in this household, yet nothing ever gets resolved. And so until you can understand your emotional responses, she will always be the one that controls your emotions and your nervous system response. It's called a survival response. So if your relationship is kind of in the shitter, it's because you guys are bouncing each other off of your survival responses. Therefore, you're getting more survival in return. Until one of you can learn to regulate your emotions, and I'm talking to you specifically, you have a beautiful opportunity to learn how to not internalize her emotions and take it personally, that it means anything about you. When we cannot internalize somebody else's response to us or attacks on us, we can start to get curious as to what is actually going on. And when you approach relationships from curiosity, without judgment, you actually create emotional safety. Is that something she said to you before? She doesn't feel emotionally safe? Likely because you spout off or you shut down. And so no matter what emotion she has, and by the way, she has a lot of them because her hormones affect her mood,
Can't change that about a woman. We can impact it, we can influence it, but she can also learn nervous system regulation, but I'll save that for another video. But you can learn to not take her emotions and her moods personally, and you can come from a place of curiosity so we can effectively problem solve for what's really at play, because chances are if you're trying to fix her, you're not solving for the right problem. She's not something that needs fixing. She's something that needs supporting, and she also needs accountability so that you don't keep being her emotional punching bag. Okay, they're called boundaries, which is really hard for people in codependent relationships because usually boundaries come with some sort of emotional response from the person who needs the boundary sent against them. But again, when you learn to regulate your own emotions, you can set boundaries without it being a form of manipulation that you're trying to get her to respond in a certain way. Boundaries protect your peace, not give somebody else peace. Okay, so if you want to learn how to do all that, this is my jam, especially for men. Hit me up in the DMs with the word heal, and we can talk about healthy mentality, which is my 12-week group coaching program for men. If you don't want to chat with me, that's fine. Go listen to the Unblock Your BS podcast, where I have probably 10 stories of men who have gone through this program and who are currently going through this program and how much it has changed both their relationships, how they show up for their families, how they parent, how they show up at work. It even talks about how well their golf game is doing now that they can regulate their emotions. So if that isn't a selling point, I'm going to go listen to those episodes. I don't know what is. And hey, my name's Tara, and I'm on a mission to create a self-aware army because it's lonely in these self-aware streets.